Hello and welcome. My name is Tom.
And I'm Heather.
And you're sitting at the Couples Table.
The Couples Table is a live stream podcast here on this channel. Join us for better or worse.
For richer or poorer.
In sickness and in health.
As long as we both shall live.
We should change our intro soon.
Yeah, I know. We sit at 100. We're almost there. It's 9 more weeks.
Yeah. I feel like we should just change it.
Yeah, I'm Heather, I'm Tom, and deal with it.
Hello, everybody. Shout out to the Just Create More pre-show peeps and the Countdown peeps. Good seeing you. Hello, hello, hello. Happy Thursday. Happy new month. Happy Pride Month. Happy June.
All the things.
Yeah.
Happy them. Happy the things.
So today,
It's important to say be happy all these things because sometimes people don't know about these things because they have a few misconceptions about them.
There it is. There's always.
But we're not just talking about misconceptions. We are, and we're not saying that we're experts either. We're not saying I'm Mr. Conception and she's Misconception over there. Instead, we're talking about misconceptions for content creators or miscontentceptions. I'm done now.
But first, I don't know if Doc is here. We'll wait for Doc.
He was at Costco.
Here. Yeah.
We know this.
Yes. But we'd love to know what you think, since many of you guys are also content creators, what misconceptions that, if there's something that you feel like is misunderstood about what you do, whether it's on YouTube or any other content that you create, love to talk about it and hear it.
Yeah, because that's a big thing that happens, at least for us in our sphere, and we were talking about this earlier, is whenever people hear that you do YouTube for a living, it's so common to default to, like, my son, my niece, my nephew, they're 5 years old and they want to be a YouTuber too, and you can't help but think that what that person is imagining is what that 5-year-old is watching, which is not what we're doing. And it's very, very different. And so for me, that's a big thing, is right off the bat is what the job actually is and the kind of stuff that you do and the connotation that comes with the word. That's always been a challenge for me.
Melanie, Tom with the jokes comes out of nowhere.
Somebody on my channel this week told me that it was getting stale. I mean, I banned them, but it still hurt my feelings.
That's what you came for when you started.
That's not what that guy came for.
Sounds like Heather's mic is off. Hello?
It's there. I see it.
Can you hear me?
I mean, I see
Tom's mic is a bit louder than Heather's. I think yours is
that
louder.
we can EQ very easily. Hello.
Seems to be a lot of echo when Heather is talking.
A lot of echo when Heather. Maybe you're just bleeding over. I need to turn mine sideways.
Do I need to go this way? So we were talking about this on Just Create More, but we had to flip our setup again. Usually, since we've moved here, I've been sitting in that chair, and we had to move because of the boom arm and the whole thing. So, so this is new. Now I'm confused at what monitor that I'm looking at.
Oh, we got a dog out there.
I know.
Want me to open the door for the dog?
Yeah, sure. We gotta let we hear. So does this sound better?
Oh yeah. Test. I'm talking now. Does it sound better?
And I'm talking too. We're gonna let the dog in. Hi, Ben.
You can let the dogs out. One of us, we could hide and let the dogs out, and someone could ask, who let the dogs out? Who?
Wow, you kept going.
Okay, Beards and Banjos said that sounds better.
Yay.
Hopefully
cool.
It does. I think we're...
So shout out to everybody. Do you want to quickly go down the list?
Yeah, what's up? Curiosity Network Podcast.
Doc Rock, Peter Gregg,
Homesick Mac, Mr. Camera Junkie, Michael H, Silver Screen Paradise, Miro Davis, Tech Troublemaker, Melanie, Sammy, Leo, David, and Beards and Banjos, and Bailey, and
Leo. And the Reapel Room, and Ali Nihat Eken.
Voiceover Village.
Nice.
Voiceover Village.
And Dr. Elo. Hello, everybody. Call me Cubby. James, what's up? Peter. Still flipped. Yay, cool. So we're good to go. Okay, so let's just jump right into it.
Let's just jump. In the words of a great man, let's just jump into it.
Well, I think this was my idea.
The misconceptions thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what was there something that jumped out at you initially that made you want to talk about it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there was something.
I'm scared.
And like, if you know me and my whole advocating for content creators and being very passionate about the creator space and how it can empower people and all the good that it does, what I wish people knew is that a lot of content creators really care and put in a lot of time and effort into what they're creating and what you're so easily consuming in 15 seconds. Mm-hmm. So like here, Leo's a perfect example. You do a lot of reels and things on Instagram that people consume very, very quickly. But even though it's consumed very quickly, it doesn't mean that it took that same amount of time to produce that thing. Before you even pick up the camera, you're already kind of imagining like what the final product is going to look like.
Yeah.
And I think, it's a shame, but this is just how the world is and society is. But of course, like the biggest channels, the biggest content creators, the biggest influencers may paint a picture of just like, oh, we just pick up our camera and it's so like lazy daisy and
I'm just a guy with a camera.
Yeah, it's just so easy. Like it's just a phone and blah blah blah. But there's a lot of passion, there's a lot of care. Like I don't think when I started my YouTube channel, it was straight up the loneliest thing I've ever done. And thankfully now I think that, like Just Create More exists. There are communities out there where you can have support and talk to somebody else who's doing this. But like I had no one I could ask for feedback or how to improve, because everyone in my life, like I was kind of, first of all, embarrassed to even show them what I was working on. And second of all, like didn't understand what I was trying to do. So couldn't give me feedback on like what I was looking for. Because, I remember the first few videos that I showed to people, they were just like, this is great. Yeah, but like, how could I make it better? But they're not going to have the eye for that. So, yeah. So like, I just think back to my, just like how much thought and, editing and care that I put into my content. And I think as content becomes easily more approachable and accessible, I just because it's like it looks so easy to make doesn't mean it was. Mm-hmm. I don't know why I wish people understood that more, because who cares? Like,
so I think we kind of talked about this a couple of days ago. I was like a little like steamed because I had gotten like a barrage of rude remarks, and I was like, I try not to let them get to me, but I have to vent to somebody, and that ends up usually being Heather. And a thing that I was saying was like, okay, sometimes you encounter just people who are literally like psychologically deranged. Like they're not, you're not going to reason with them on anything, much less whatever insanity they have just left on your YouTube video. But that's not most people. Most people are not like that. And so you sometimes get the super mean, rude things. And the thing that I was thinking the other day was that if any of those people, no matter how different we are or whatever, or what their opinion was that made them say those things, if they sat through the whole process, if they just shadowed me, we'll say, like outlining a video, the whole process of setting things up to record the video, recording the video, cleaning things up, managing the footage, editing the video, putting it up online before it's even released, then going through and doing all the like supplemental stuff, the links and the descriptions and all that stuff. If they watch the process from A to Z, I don't think anybody who would say anything negative about it.
Because I understand that there are people who like don't even watch their footage back, like I know that's out there, but there's also a lot of us out here that by the time you're watching the video, I have watched it like 20 times.
Yeah.
And analyzed every frame, and every frame is in there for a purpose. And, it, like, I think it just goes back to like, I take pride in what I do, and you don't have to agree with it, but like, I wish there was a respect.
Yeah, you don't have to like it. That's different. Like loving it and enjoying it, it's
like
very, very different.
Yeah.
Like there's music and movies. There's all kinds of stuff out there that I don't like, but I totally get why people like it. I totally understand like the work and the effort that goes into it. It's just not for me, which is fine.
Yeah.
But it's like, wow, those people are still working really hard, and it's for somebody who really loves it. Yeah. And just that remembering is very, very important. That like, it's very easy for you to just become a thing, like almost like an app, like you're like a Siri or an Alexa that just lives in somebody's device, and when they need entertainment, they just tap it, and you're there just like making a video for them, but they don't know everything that went into to the point where there could be pixels for them to watch in the first place.
Beers and Banter says, you help to create a positive learning community where we can discuss content creation. For the most part, we can't really talk to others in our lives. They can't relate.
It's really hard. And that, like I've seen that when sometimes I'll ask people like which thumbnail is better for a video, and one of them will have like me in it and one of them won't have me in it. And I've noticed a lot of times, sometimes people just like my beautiful face, but a lot of times people who have less or no experience with content creation will default to the one with you in it is better.
Right. Because obviously.
And maybe sometimes that's true. Like having a face in a thing is more important. But there's a lot of times it's like, I know that you know me. And so you're going to default to the thing that has the person in it. But it's like, I want to talk to someone who understands what it means when there is and is not a face in a thing, and the effect that has and how that correlates with like the other things that have been built. So it's not just, A or B is better, but A is better because of this, B is better because of like, it's really that because of, and it's hard to find other people that speak that language.
Hey, we have a guest.
Oh, just popping in to say hi. Wow. So far away. So far away.
Hey, Peter. Well, Doc, since you're here, can I do this?
Yeah.
Really quick? Okay. So I got mail. So we're going to cut to this really quick, and I'm very excited. I hope you're okay with me opening this on stream.
It's a bunch of contrabands.
But I believe that this is from Doc.
Well, it's from something called the Purple Store.
Yes, so I'm excited.
And the invoice is purple. It's on brand.
Oh,
do you see what it is?
I did see what it is.
Oh.
Okay, ready? Wow, there's a lot of
packing peanuts. These have made a comeback lately.
Hold on, let me try to not make a mess here. I don't know where I'm looking.
I'm not a fan of packing peanuts making a comeback lately. You seem excited.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Are we ready?
What have you got there?
Yay!
You know what I was going to not expect that to be? Is that we need to censor our stream now. Put some gaff tape over part of that.
I love this. Thank you.
It is the perfect shade.
That's amazing.
Wait, let me see.
We're just subtly put it right there.
This is like Aubrey's like S show sign.
S show. It's okay. It's my channel.
It's YouTube, and you can do whatever you want on YouTube. Broadcast yourself.
This is great. Thanks, Doc.
You just need to pull up to like a Zoom meeting with a client or something.
I know.
And just...
Hi. Okay, so let's get into back to the misconceptions. Why don't you talk about one?
Okay, here's one that I actually learned recently. We were talking before the stream with a friend about all these things, but one of the things popped up which I realized is very important is the I don't know what you would call it. The importance of being on camera and the skill, I guess, the value of being someone who can be on camera. And I do not mean that in like a self-congratulatory way, because when I started my YouTube channel, I did not want to be on camera at all. Like I wanted to feature other people and I wanted to be behind the camera.
Yeah, that was actually the vision behind your channel.
That was the whole goal.
Was about other people.
The enthusiasm project was to showcase people who are doing projects that they're enthusiastic about, not me. But it was like, then you have to schedule stuff with other people. I'm available whenever I'm available, so it's much easier for me to make stuff. But what I've learned, you can build the skill. Most people are uncomfortable at first, putting the camera on, I'm talking, editing the footage. It's very uncomfortable for most people. And you can build that skill up over time. Like you can get better at talking to the camera. You can get better at presenting, stumble over your words less, know how to outline things. Like, practice does really improve. But I think that that's really undervalued because so many people do think like, oh, you just turn on a camera and just say something. The thing that we see, the end result that we see is the one that's edited. You don't see the outtakes. You don't see the confusion. You don't see the amount of footage I have that's just sort of me squinting at a computer screen.
I think the reason why that's not a misconception for me that I feel like people have is because when people talk to me, their immediate like top 3 responses is like I'm camera shy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Really? I think
how many subscribers you have, how much you get paid, and like how do you do that? I'm scared of the camera.
I feel like when people are in that stage where they want to do it, that's when they're starting to realize it. Like because they're imagining, how do I do this? I have to be in front of a camera. They're putting themselves in that position. But I feel like for other people who aren't at that point yet and just think like, oh, it's so easy, you just take a video, whatever, like any idiot can just press record.
Right.
Or the other thing is really the value that goes into that, because you know, there's all the memes and the jokes about like YouTube channels kind of being over the top and like the extreme stuff, which obviously that's a version of things, but the way of like whatever your personality is, if you're a high energy person, if you're a laid back person, whatever that is, sharing that authentically in a way that's somehow engaging and able to somehow hold someone's attention, that goes way beyond your gear, way beyond. I think we talked about this not that long ago, but there was a point I brought up where I said like since I watch a lot of camera videos, there are people who are professional, like cinematographers, directors of photography, who will sometimes make videos about cameras. And I don't really mean to criticize because I think a lot of it's just for fun. They're not like trying to be full-time YouTube or anything. But the videos always look amazing. And they're the most boring, like awful videos I've seen because nothing happens. You can't hear the person talking. There's no point really being made because the person like does not know how to, they know how to set everything up perfectly, but they don't know how to then deliver something in a way that makes sense. And it's like learning how to be a good public speaker. If you can do that, it's almost like a superpower.
Right.
And
it's a skill. It really is something that you need to practice.
Yeah, it's a skill. Like you get better at it, and then you also create edited content a lot of the time. Not right now, this is live, but a lot of times you're creating edited content, so then you can polish it up even further. So what people see looks very, very polished.
And I think like, here's something I didn't understand about this whole camera thing is that when people look at videos, they think like I need a good camera to produce a good video.
Right.
But for me, it had nothing to do with the camera. And especially when I started my channel in 2016. So I don't know, it's like late 20s, turning 30, talking into the camera about my journey and my thoughts and the decisions I was making and why I was making those decisions, regardless of like who was going to watch it, was almost honestly like, I think the reason why it was so empowering for me was it was the first time that I actually advocated for myself. Like I was declaring to myself, I am doing this. Here's why. I'm talking out my thoughts. And that has nothing to do with what camera I'm looking at. And then that's not even like camera confidence. It was more of a confidence in myself. So, you know, when people are saying, when they say, oh, you're so like, you're so natural on camera, it's not the camera confidence that you're thinking. It's more of like being able to confidently speak my thoughts.
Right.
And articulate what I'm saying. And, you know, I've talked about this many times on the Couples Table. I have ADHD. I forget what I'm saying all the time. I was on Tech Troublemaker stream a few weeks ago and completely blinked out on the thought I was trying to make. And luckily, like, you know, one of the things I love about YouTube is that it's your channel, right?
Yeah.
Like, my people know that. And that's kind of like an expectation that you can build in. But
yeah, that part of it was not a problem at all.
Yeah.
I just wanted to point out, Nick said that, there it is. I got more comfortable on camera by editing my own videos because hearing your own voice and seeing yourself for hours makes you comfortable over time. I would definitely agree, although I would say, at least in my case, I don't know if it's more comfortable or you just become numb to it. Because I still feel if I step back and look at like, here's a guy like filming himself and editing himself, like, wow, this guy's full of himself.
I know. I don't know why you have this. So
I
like,
know.
I'll watch Tom's videos. You know, I don't know, he's like in the other room and I'll just have it going or I'm listening to it or whatever. And then we'll get in the car and the Bluetooth will like pick up or whatever. And his voice will start playing in the car speakers. He's like, oh my God, turn it off. Turn it off. And I'm like, why? Why are you?
Yeah, that's still,
like,
that happened like
so
2 days ago. But you do get so used to it because it just becomes noise. And a really important thing to think about is what the people who are watching are expecting. It's like filming yourself in public is a very weird feeling thing to do for a lot of people, because you're standing there, you're holding a thing. It just feels strange. But for the people watching, it feels like the most natural thing in the world, because they're expecting to turn on video and see someone. A really good example was I had a lot of issues with confidence when I started teaching, because it just felt like and I was also younger. I was like 24, and I'm in this room with high school students, and I'm supposed to be the teacher, and like, oh, like I need an adult. This is scary. And then I realized, okay, it's really scary for me. But for every student walking in the door, they're expecting to walk into a classroom and a teacher's at the front and the teacher tells them stuff. Like, that's what they're expecting. And all I have to do is put my discomfort aside and do the thing that they're expecting.
Right.
And then it feels natural over time. The same thing's true with YouTube. Like, people are expecting to see someone talking to a camera, sharing their thoughts. It might feel weird at first, but you can...
But like with all things that you
practice. Haven't
tried before, it's going to feel weird at first.
Yeah.
But yeah, practice. So Monica, you had your question, what helped you to build the skill to be on camera? I think we mentioned a few things.
Yeah, I mean, practice for sure. It really, really, really helps.
But also, like, if you're talking about something that you're excited about, hopefully that will, push you through. Because I think...
Yeah, playing to your strengths.
I'm hoping that everybody could... You must have that one thing that you could talk about where other people zone out and you're like, I don't even understand what you're... Like, Tom will come in with his bass and just start talking. I have no idea what he's saying, but, like, I just...
But I'm real excited about it.
I know, he's, like, so excited about it that I'm excited about it.
Can you lean to your left a lot? I just want people to see the position that Ben is in. Oh, I just want to see his head. That's all.
That's all I know.
Yeah, so that's it just takes practice.
Let's see. One of the misconceptions I see or hear is the whole, why all this equipment if it's just for YouTube? Where can I see your work? You're watching my work as you comment on this video.
Thank you, Bailey. I know you and I share this feeling a lot.
I feel like this is just your niche.
Well, I mean,
I don't ever get this.
I guess it depends on like if you're gear centric or not, but that's a big one, is like YouTube doesn't count. Like, oh, so you make videos, but like, where's your videos that I could actually see your work? And it's like, but there's hundreds of them. They're right here. You're watching them. No, but you have to go get paid no money, or you have to go get paid an exposure for some like project or something. And then that's legit. And then this is not. It's like, no, this can be just as legit.
Doc says, the ability for me to just be on all the time actually comes from years of public speaking, emceeing, and 2+ decades of radio. It was not automatic at all.
And
exactly.
I can tell you that personally, like, as someone who in college, I took a public speaking class, and because you had to, not because I wanted to. And every night before I had to give a speech, I think we had to give 5 speeches over the term. The night before, I couldn't sleep. I literally was dripping sweat. I had to put pads in my shirt to soak up sweat.
You were there. The first YouTube workshop I taught in person, I did not sleep the whole night.
Yeah.
And like, that's how I just had to do it because it was my first one. By the time I was like 5-10 in, I didn't even like update the thing. Like I didn't even look at it because it's
not for lack of effort, but you have like the reps in, you have the muscle memory.
Yeah, I didn't even need to look at the presentation. But before, it was, of course, I was just like, okay, I have to say this when this shows up on the keynote, and like,
Yeah, I still personally feel nervous a lot of the time if I need to like talk in front of, but especially like teaching was the best thing to get out of this, and then YouTube on top of that, and they both helped each other. But it's like, at this point, that's where I learned as a superpower. If somebody says like, you need to go give a speech or whatever, talk about something for 5 minutes in front of this group, it's okay. Like and going from not being able to sleep because I had to give a speech to a community college class to like really, like, regardless of the audience size, not being affected by it. I never in my life would have thought that I could make that leap, because it just felt at the beginning like, no, this is how I am. This is just how I am. I can't do that. And crazy enough, like with enough repetition, enough practice, it all kind of melted away.
Doc said, I think we need to take phrases like natural on camera away from the conversation. It makes it sound like an unobtainable superpower.
It's something that can definitely be learned. There are people who just aren't and can't and shouldn't. And like,
there really are people who are naturally, like, I don't know if outgoing is the word, but the
charisma or whatever it just comes across. But I think those are outliers on both ends. Like the people who just like, you really should be behind the camera, not for any like physical thing, but just it's not working. Like you're not drawing people in. And
Jeez,
and it's true. Some people it just isn't working. And then there are other people where it's like you could film them with a Motorola Razr and it'd be the most engaging video in the world. Most of us fall in the middle where it's like probably not super great to start off with, but with some practice we can actually get pretty darn good.
The other thing though, Doc, is like removing or taking away natural on camera from the conversation. I feel like the people who are saying that are not in the conversation we're having. You know, like they haven't made that leap to
Right.
content creation. Because I think when it comes specifically to like being on camera, I think you learn very quickly that it is something you can practice.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It is going to be one of those early, like, you know, if you can't get over it, then you'll probably stop.
So this kind of this ties very nicely into another misconception that I wanted to touch on, and then I know we can.
Oh, I love this. It is not me in the videos; it is my persona, so that makes it easier. I mean, I don't do that, but I love that people do, and that it works for people.
Yeah, it's like how some people use the script, some people use bullet points, some
Yeah.
people wing it. Like you got to find the thing that works for you specifically.
Really quick, Monica, Heather, that comment you made of you're struggling for getting stuff on camera was so helpful to me. Thank you for sharing. Yep.
I'm
so
glad.
always, Monica, paper and pencil, always, because I will forget, and that's totally fine.
That's fine. Totally fine.
Nothing happens if you forget. It's totally fine.
Yeah.
So many awesome creators in this chat. I used to have a horrible fear of public speaking until I realized I'm going to get negative feedback regardless. And on my podcast, it's very personal, but I just see the listeners as actual people.
And when I say it's a superpower, I mean literally like all the surveys done, public speaking is the #1 fear in society, more so than death. And it's insane the situations you'll find yourself in, whether it's work, school, personal, professional stuff, doesn't matter. The number of times where it's like somebody has to get in front and say something, or there's a group and someone has to stand up and do something, and you find like it's not just like that you need to be a center of attention, but you can keep things going. Like the number of times I volunteered to be a presenter in a college group was just because I knew that then we would be done.
Oh,
like,
that was like me.
Like let's go. I don't want to sit here and do this. Like here, I'll go, I'll do the thing. But then you start to learn like people rely on you for that, and then people start.
Yeah, like whenever I got put into a group,
Yeah.
people are just like nothing happened. So I'm like, okay, you do this, we'll do this. Here's what's happening.
Yeah.
Blah, blah,
And you're
blah.
not being bossy. You're just like
No,
the,
but I'm
the
like,
wheels
someone
need to
needs
turn.
to go. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so Melanie says, I used to vlog in public all the time and not even think twice about it. Took a long break, and now that I'm back, I feel awkward in public.
That's true. It
That is
doesn't stick
definitely-
around.
It's a muscle, right? So it can just
It
if
gets
you
stronger
don't like,
and weaker.
yeah, if you don't work it out, it'll weaken.
That is chillaxing.
It's those exposure bucks. Michael says, I have ADHD and my issue is I lose my train of thought while recording, but don't discover it until I'm editing,
I do that
and go
too.
back and complete the
That's where you
thought.
get real creative with your editing.
Yeah. I know. I used to take stuff from the back and put it in the front.
Yeah.
Have the same problem, Michael. Let's see. Walking around talking to the camera is a weird thing for me. Then someone asked, are you a YouTuber? I kind of want to say no because I feel like I'm being outed.
See,
That was like my favorite thing when someone would see me.
You
was
love
like,
it.
I was like, yeah, I'm on YouTube. Go check out my channel.
I do not. I'm just like I do like videos and video production. And stuff.
I know you're like I don't really want to tell people what I would do. You should tell them with pride.
If it's like if we're in a group of other content creators, and they're like, "Do you have a channel? What's your channel about?" I'm very happy to talk about it. But if it's just out in the wild, it's like I don't want to get into it.
I think that's like such a cool thing. Like imagine if you were the one meeting someone who did YouTube videos. Wouldn't you want to check it out?
I would, but I don't. It's just I don't know.
You also have a really cool channel.
I do. I have the coolest channel.
Tom.
I'm just kidding.
Let's see. I didn't sleep before concerts where I was performing. I used to get crazy butterflies. Then one day it stopped.
Yeah, it's nuts. Like I used to have to wear sweat pads if I was in front of people. Like literally they make
We've talked about this. Yeah.
They like stick under your shirt and stuff, and it was for a good solid academic year of like teaching. I had to wear those every day, and then suddenly it was like I don't need these anymore.
I still get cotton mouth when I do public speaking. Like, and that's just a physical, like I'm not trying to have cotton mouth obviously, but it still happens.
You know, a fly flew into my mouth and it couldn't get out. It got caught in mouth.
Wow. I gave a presentation in English a couple years ago in front of 200 other students about how to create stop motion
That
videos.
is amazing.
I think it also is like, you know, there's a college class, there's a workshop, but then if you're teaching something like stop motion or something that you're really excited about, like if someone were to sit here and ask me about Final Fantasy, like, let's go.
But could you do it in another language?
I don't know any other languages, but that's awesome. Let's see. I would love the challenge of fixing bad on camera people. I think I can train anyone.
Yeah.
I would like, that's a cool
Practice is the
thing.
least sexy answer in the world, but it's
Yeah.
the answer to like 90% of the problems.
I know. Spiral Lab. I'm sometimes amazed by how good I sound when I listen to my live stream recordings, but it only works because I'm talking about things I'm passionate and knowledgeable about.
Yeah, that's good. Play to your strengths,
Exactly.
100%.
Yeah. Business growth ready. I guess the level of nervousness is not a bad thing. Shows that you feel your output is important and you care for the audience.
I think that's true too. There's been times where I've like interviewed people for like whatever it might be, whether it's like a position at a store or like a student for a scholarship or something, and them being nervous actually does play to a strength because it shows that they care. Like if they came in, they were just super cool under all the pressure, you'd be like, I would almost feel like, do you care about this?
Indifferent.
But the nervousness is like, you really want to do a good job. Like, this is important to you. You've put in effort. So if you stumble or you stutter, I don't care because I can see how much you care.
Let's see. Mike says, I will always tell people that no one is really natural, but if it feels super unnatural, I usually advise to completely exaggerate the part of your personality you like. Seems to work with most people. I like that.
That's a good one.
There's still a stigma attached to being a creator. I think there always will be. And I mean, I think that's why I came up with this thing, which, like, I want to take the next one. I knew you were about to start, so you can
Yeah,
go.
I was like...
Okay, you can go.
No, you can go for it. I just want to talk about it. I don't care.
When
who
people ask me if I'm on
introduces
YouTube, I just tell them I'm Tom Book.
That's
Nick says, be proud to be a YouTuber, Tom. The nice lady at Starbucks recognized me this morning, and I loved it. I agree, Heather. Yes, I think
know,
it's so cool.
Well, I think there's a difference. I mean, just how I feel personally. If someone says, like, wait, are you... Like, that's a very different thing versus, like...
Like, okay, we went to Trader Joe's a few weeks ago, and the guy was like, oh, what do you do? Freeze.
Yeah.
I don't... He, like, literally
I said I used to
froze it.
work at Trader Joe's.
If you were to ask me what I do, I don't have to think about it. I make YouTube videos. That is my default answer. I make YouTube videos. What is your answer? Frozen.
I do like
Deer in the
video,
headlights.
photo. Like, I don't...
Still? It's 5 years,
I
man.
know. It's bad. I need to work on that.
My biggest fear is needing to give a speech while falling off a building.
That is scary.
I found the Middle East to be very open and receptive to YouTubers. Lots of enthusiasm for creators.
I mean, most people... It's all my fault. I'm not...
I've never had anyone say, like, you know,
The
ew, you're a YouTuber.
I think the part is like... The most common encounter I have is, what do you do? Oh, I make YouTube videos. And then it will default to like, oh, my daughter, my son, my young child that I interact with loves YouTube, and it's like, oh yeah, that's cool. And then and then the person defaults to like, I don't understand technology. I don't know how this technology works. Like, yeah, I programmed a garage door off YouTube once, and it's like these weird stories where it's like, I don't really want to explain to you what YouTube is.
I think he's just had enough bad experiences where you don't even want to.
That situation has been my most common one. So I think when people ask the question, I just feel exhausted already because it's like, I don't want to explain that. If someone already has a pre-existing knowledge, very, very different. Like if they can ask a question that shows knowledge, like, oh, like how do you, whatever, how do you decide a niche? How do you do whatever? It's like, oh, we can talk about that.
I think it also depends because like when I started my YouTube channel, I was in Long Beach, right? So very populated city. I had not just adults.
It wasn't unusual.
Yeah, like I had kids just see the camera and immediately, what's your YouTube channel? Not, are you a YouTuber? It's, what's your YouTube channel? How do I subscribe? And that was like, see, what I'm doing is cool, Mom. Ben says, thinking about the string of events that helped me feel comfortable on camera. It was definitely a journey, and I can't say whether it was something intrinsic or circumstances that drew me to it. I love that. Yeah. That fear was learned at some point. Ask a preschool kid about dinosaurs or Pokemon. They have no problem dropping 38 minutes of facts. Somebody made you scared, not you.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Okay, you go into your thing, and then I'll...
About the next topic?
The next misconception.
Well, I forget how. There was a point where it was going to be a natural transition.
Sorry.
But maybe it has to do with practice, because one of the misconceptions that we were talking about prior to this is that, especially at the beginning, your input does not equal your output. And I think a lot of people there are a lot of people who will like getting over that hurdle of like, I made my first YouTube video is a huge milestone and you should be proud and you should celebrate it.
I honestly think it's the biggest because you go from not moving.
Right. You go from 0 to something.
0 to 1. Like
Yeah.
that's a huge.
Yeah.
You were not moving at all, and now you're actually in motion. So you can do momentum.
Maybe putting it in that perspective of like that's why it's a big deal, because the thing that I have seen a lot is, okay, I made the one video. Where's the brand deals? Where's the subscribers? Where's the silver play button? Like, and then sometimes people are like, okay, I made 2 or 3 videos. That's cool. Like, there is. I don't think at any point there's a direct like one-to-one income outcome or whatever. Like, I make one video, I get this results, whatever measurement you want that to be, whether it's money, subscribers, combination of things, whatever. There's not that thing. As you grow, you can kind of get a better idea. Like, okay, you know, these videos will perform this way. This month I can earn this much money. This response will be like this. So you can predict it a little bit more to an extent, but especially early on, like, speaking like from my experience, it took me almost 7 months to hit the 100 subscriber milestone and almost 60 videos. By the time I finished my 30-day, I had my channel for 4 months. I finished a 30-day upload challenge. At that point, I had 36 videos, almost 40 videos, and 26 subscribers. Like, which I mean, and I was really psyched to have 26. Like, that's not a thing, but if you tell somebody, yeah, go make 40 videos and then have 26, like...
Yeah, like, this scare a lot of people off.
Yeah, but you have to be doing, you know, that's not...
But if you're making videos about, like, if the process of making videos is fun for you, that's the output.
And
right?
it depends on what like, my metric, that's not a rule. Like, you can make 2 videos and blow up like crazy, but generally speaking, you're going to put in a lot of videos and you're not going to see a lot of traction. You're not going to see a lot of, like, exponential growth or anything like that. And so especially early on, rather than thinking of like, I made a video, so YouTube's going to reward me for that, it's more like, I made a video, I got better at this, I improved this, I learned how to do this, I have an idea of something I can do next. Like, the creative process and that growth is really what the early part is, like, should be mostly focused on, because that's where you're going to see the most growth, not the like actual numbers coming from the thing. Anyway, you had a thing you wanted to add to that point?
No.
Oh, I thought you were all excited about it.
No, I was going to do the next one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Do you want to check in on comments, though?
No, I'm kidding.
Gosh.
Sorry, I laughed. Let's see here. Oh no, coffee. You actually work in coffee. I had no idea. Oops, wait. My default answer, what do you do? Slowly add it. I do coffee videos on YouTube. Oh, you know what? I could say like I do camera videos, or I do like audio video. I do audio video videos.
YouTube.
I do videos about audio video. See, I need something like that. Melanie, I don't like having to over explain myself. It's just exhausting. Yeah. Someone recently asked what I've been up to. I'm just like, yeah. Sometimes if like I don't talk to, you know, my mom or something for a while, and it's like, I know a bunch of stuff happened. I know I want to share it. I can't think of it all. So it's like, what are you up to? It's like, not much. But it's like, I know these crazy big things happen.
I'm good.
Yeah, that I want to share, but I can't even think about it.
I get it, though. Sometimes I've said I'm a YouTuber. Yep, that's actually a job now. It's easier to be self-deprecating, but I'm challenging myself to not do that and be proud of what I do exactly.
I almost like your self-deprecating is a little baby step for me, though, to like, every time it turns out it's a job. Okay.
Why shouldn't we be proud? Like, just like doctors are proud.
Trust me, 12-year-old me would be more proud than anything.
Don't we put in the same amount of like passion? Yo.
Docs brings up a good point. Not telling somebody what you do is passing up a chance for them to help you. The person you're hiding from may just hold the key to your success.
I love that.
I feel like a lot of the times the people I'm hiding from aren't the key to my success. Sometimes you have a good radar of like, I just want to get out of this interaction, but...
Okay, so let's see. I don't know how to introduce this one. But I guess one misconception that I wish more people understood about being a content creator is how multifaceted your skill set has to be.
Oh, yeah.
Outside of just making videos. If it were just making videos, wow. Like, that's the fun part. You also have to have an incredible amount of business savvy of, contracts, of personal branding, of advocating for yourself, of audience building and community building and,
conflict resolution.
Yeah, exactly. Being able to even deal with having an online presence and all of these things, like it really is something that you can spend a lot of time thinking about, even though you're not necessarily just making the video. Like, it can permeate every facet, which is like, I wish more people knew that, because it also goes into, if you pick up YouTube, right? So like if a teenager's like, oh, I want to be a YouTuber when I grow up or whatever skills and experience they gained in pursuit of growing their YouTube channel is going to translate to whatever career, if it's not YouTube, something else.
Oh my God.
Which is why I think it's I think doing YouTube is a worthwhile endeavor.
Oh yeah, no question.
Which is why we should be proud of it.
I know. Well, here, look, Business Growth Ready said, answer to what you do. I make JPEG images synced with audio at 25 FPS with the sound at negative 14 LUFS and upload them with public access streaming platforms so anyone in the world can view them.
It is hard when we think of a doctor. I think 90% of us would be in agreement of what a doctor is, because we've all seen a doctor.
Doc Rock.
We've all been taught by a teacher. We think we know what a teacher does.
Careful now.
But when we think of YouTuber or content creator or influencer, your definition is probably not going to be what mine is. And so that's why I feel like there's always going to be a stigma. There's always going to be like these misconceptions, because, there's people who don't care, aren't passionate, are not spending as much time and whatever, and they have a bigger audience. So it's like, you can argue who's more successful. Of course, probably most people would say the one with the bigger number.
Right. And it's hard not to, it's hard not to go down that like path of more numbers equals more success, but not always, not necessarily. More money, more problems.
Wow. HR is still right here. We hear a lot of hats. We wear a lot of hats, do this job as many full-time parents do. Thank God I don't have that issue. Yeah,
I know.
That I know of. Yeah, it's, I mean, I think that's why I'm so, like, why I even came up with this idea to talk about in the first place. Because I really do wish people would know that this is a career that I take very seriously, and it's like something I'm very passionate about and I take pride in. And it's not just me, there's a lot of us. And for a lot of us, it's our bread and butter. We're supporting our families with what we do. And, for it to be so dismissed by some troll, like whatever, is like so just annoying.
Yeah.
But that's why we shouldn't let it bother us.
I know, but it's also why it's important to talk about
Anyway, what's your other? I can take another one unless you have one.
Well, so let's see. I'm trying to think of like good transitions here. We talked about skills and legit jobs.
I think the next one I'm going to say is this one.
Well, you transition into
okay. That. I don't know how to transition. I'm just going to bring up the next misconception.
That's a transition in itself.
So here, next point. Another misconception is that I think content creation has evolved, especially since the pandemic. Like, the platforms are crazy changing. Even like pre-pandemic, post-pandemic, they're totally different. I think if you were to say like, oh, what does your Instagram feed look like 2 years ago versus now? Totally different. Same with YouTube, all of that.
Mine's the same mess.
I think one of the benefits of how content creation has evolved and its role in society is that now more than ever, you don't need millions of subscribers to be successful. And in this case, I'm going to define success as making it your full-time job. Like making a middle-class income off of content creation. And I think that's true. I think that's more true than ever. And I also think that it is going to be harder to get to millions. Mm-hmm. So if that's the case, I think it trickles into like brands. I think brands are at the point where they know the bigger numbers doesn't necessarily translate into quality conversions. So, which is a I think that's like the whole chain is like they're probably more willing to work with smaller channels if you have the community, you have the brand, you have the content and the skill set and all of that. I think that's an exciting thing.
I know, I don't think he's here right now, but Dan Bearded, like a year or two ago when his channel was around the 20,000 mark, he had like products that were showing up in stores on shelves.
Yeah, like he made his own products at 20,000 something subscribers.
Because he was like the resource in his field, and so it wasn't that it was the biggest number in the world, but it was that's a really dialed in thing. You can't get past the part where, you know, a company or an executive or whatever is going to look at like, how much are we actually going to pay this person that just has these numbers? Like there is that part where it's like, you know, the numbers play a role in it, but for you as the creator, and we were just talking about this today, like if you hit a point where you're like, hey, you know, my bills are paid, can put a little money in savings and have a little bit of fun. Does it really then matter? Like if that's what we can do, didn't I win? Like, isn't that the end game, right?
Can I just enjoy? Like,
yeah, who cares what the other
numbers
are?
Going? Yeah. Like, obviously, you don't have to die.
Well, that's like, I think I can't remember what thing we've talked about what on, but...
Yeah, I feel like we talked about this.
Last week, I feel like we talked about the idea of a business, you know, a giant corporation, they make $4 billion in profit this quarter and $4 billion in profit next quarter, and then they lose stock value because they made 0% growth, but it's like, you made $4 billion in profit. Like that... Why isn't that good enough, you know? And obviously in the business world there's an infinite number of reasons why that's not good enough, but in the content creation world where you can be the sole decider of what you want to do and what your measure of success is, you know, it can be hard because then you can't help sometimes but play the comparison game against, you know, your better judgment and reining yourself in and remembering like, okay.
But that's another skill.
It takes a long time to learn that. Yeah,
to like have the resolve and the mindset, and at the end of the day, it's a creative endeavor, and that it's a hard, like, you are the thing that you're selling.
Yeah. Oh my god. And then you want to be creative and have fun on top of like everything.
It's so hard, right? And then like if you're not selling, right? So if you're not being successful, is there something wrong with you? And
I remember a while ago, I listened to an interview with Justine. And she was talking about that there are some days she's still like obviously the main person on her channel, but sometimes it sounds like she has people who help her film. Like someone will come over and they'll just kind of like do the gear and she does the delivery and stuff. And she has said sometimes she feels terrible. There's times that people come over and she's like, I can't do it today. Like I just can't. And they don't get to do it today. I remember thinking like, how could you not, like, you know, how could you not? And as time has gone on, it's this crazy thing where it's like I almost have to like create like a meditative headspace of like, okay, I'm planning to record something on this day. It's not just the planning what the video is, but it's like, am I worried about something else here? Am I stressed out about this over here? Am I preoccupied by this? Am I rushing through? Like I need to get like, you know, even so much as like, is Heather, like, is she okay? Is she upset about if you were upset about something, I couldn't go in the room and be like, okay, well, I'm going to go talk about this microphone now. It's not that I'm upset
about that, but if I'm not feeling good, like, of course.
No, but I mean, if there's even just anything, like if I don't know, if we're getting ready and I leave and I feel like I heard something in your voice, or maybe I said something that would like, wait, did I sense like something that'll be like.
Yeah, because when you, like, it's not that you are performing where you're like fake, but to be on and like deliver and create the best content that you can, mindset is everything, right? Like I know for me, if I'm feeling any kind of just like not, then I just can't. And I know that if I give myself whatever I need, whether it's rest or trying it again tomorrow or whatever, it'll come so much more easier and more naturally. And that's when it's like, you know, sometimes you're just not feeling it. And
sometimes there are things that you should brute force your way through and just push through, but especially when it comes to something like that, because the energy and the performance and the feeling, that's what makes
value.
It.
Yeah, of course, the X factor, right?
And so, if that's not up to snuff, then people aren't going to get what you want them to get from it.
YouTube was instrumental in landing an amazing job. They were looking for someone with YouTube experience, had only around 200 subscribers at the time, still got the job.
Oh, I mean, we both have stories of crazy opportunities that showed up
That's the
way
thing,
early on.
Yeah, Ben Ben and I like could talk about this because it's kind of what happened to me where, you know, I do a lot of client work. So I'm getting paid as a full-time content creator, but it's not necessarily coming from my channel, but the skill set did.
And a lot of the clients did.
And like, a lot of the branding
the
does.
channel is also a big, like, a resume.
So you can still, like, work as a content creator. Well, this is why, even more so, like, 200 subscribers, you're working in the creator space. Same with me, like, 11,000 subscribers is, I mean, I'm happy with it. But, in the grand scheme of YouTube is, like, that's it. But, yeah, I mean, I've been doing this full time since I quit like 6 years ago. So, there's a lot of opportunities. Let's see. Still trying to write my own thing, though. I would like this to be my bread and butter.
Don't you mean your coffee and cream?
Success is actually self-determined. Look at the people we think are successful that are extremely unhappy. Looking at you, Jack Sparrow.
Yeah, I mean, oh my gosh. It's
recall from a training seminar back in the 90s when it was said, we teach teachers to teach so teachers can teach.
Yes.
Let's
like that.
see. Success for now will be what I can get. Well, sorry, right. Yeah.
Yeah. You have to.
If it isn't the goal, it's not what is defining success. On my current school, which I'll be moving from soon,
Congratulations.
is that the video course they have is taught by a random teacher. So I teach the class all the time. I sent her Tom's pathway for next year. Oh, that's so cool, Bailey.
That is the most common thing in the world. We're starting a media program. And I would get those emails all the time. What equipment do we need? What that? And it's always like, doesn't matter. Who do you have teaching it? I think we have like a history teacher or something who can do it. It's like, okay, it failed.
Hopefully with the pathway, it'll help because I've been teaching her all year. So she might have picked up a few things with luck.
It's all about having the right person because anyone can learn anything if they're motivated enough. But
here, Nick says I did that last week. Sent someone home because I didn't want to do it that day. Just too many brands and agents that got in my head. I think.
Yeah. That's we were talking about it this morning too about how easy it is to you just sort of dive in. Like I just need to respond to some messages, some emails, some comments or whatever. You're like now 2 hours have gone by. I'm tired. I'm drained.
I mean, I think that's the other. It's not a misconception, but I think it's not talked about enough. People don't know this until it's already happening. Is that like you have to draw your boundaries? You're the only one.
The level of like admin work.
You're the only one who has control of like the boundaries that you set. That is a good thing and a bad thing. Mm-hmm. And like I can't even tell you the amount of guilt I have felt for not feeling on and like why can't I, and like look at Tom, he's doing it, how come I can't, and all of this, and but then I'll feel like I feel today and be excited, and it's not something I have to force myself to do, and that's when I know it's like, oh, it's not a choice, it's if I'm just not feeling it, I'm just not feeling it.
Yeah.
And I have to tell myself like that's okay,
right,
try again tomorrow.
James and Mark said, we're wrapping up our Friday live stream tomorrow. This was temporary, but realized it kept us from other goals we wanted to achieve. Yeah, and that's...
Congrats on
that.
On the success of the Friday live stream, but then also making the decision to...
They've been doing 2 streams a week for a really long time now.
For years.
Yeah, Monday and Friday, and made the decision to not do the Friday one anymore. And that's because you could have done it forever. You could feel like you have to do it because people expect you to do it.
And that's the other, obviously the tricky part with content creation is there's not one path that's going to work for everybody. And honestly, if you were to ask YouTube what to do, like they can't make any guarantee like what decision you make is going to lead to success. So it's you have to decide, like, do I continue this second stream or not? Do I even have a stream?
That's a really hard thing. Like you can learn a lot from other people. Like I think if any of us sat in on anyone else's process, we would learn a ton.
Definitely a lot to learn,
regardless of niche size, experience level, whatever. But there is no like, other than making videos, that's the one common like factor that you have to do. There's really nothing else that can guarantee anything. And the tricky part when you're on the creator side of it is you sort of have to like constantly be on the lookout for, is this an opportunity? Is this something that I should do? Is this something I should stop doing? And there's nobody who can tell you.
Yeah, that's so hard. But I'll tell you, like, Well, I wish I could tell myself, honestly. There were times, especially when I was getting started, where, you know, you get your first client, you get your first, like, oh, I want to send you a free product,
Oh yeah.
or, you know, like when I got into my first car accident and the car repair shop was like, we'll waive your deductible. There's $1,000 deductible. They completely repaired my car for free, which, like, I can't even explain. I don't even know what I would have done because I didn't have just an extra $1,000 laying around.
Right.
But like, you don't know that if you say no to something, you actually open up opportunity to something else. So it might feel like, oh, I really need this thing, like I need this thing to work, or I, you know, I'm committed to this second live stream. But if you stopped doing it, like, who knows what else you can work
Right.
on, or, you know, maybe someone has a, you know, collaboration. Like, I never thought I would be working with like Mighty Networks, which is like the coolest
Yeah.
thing. Like, it's a company that, like, I'm excited about. You and Road, I mean, can we talk about the craziness that is your channel right now and all the Road fun stuff that's happening? Like, could you have ever imagined? Like, it was.
No.
It's not like okay, I'm gonna start a YouTube channel and you have this whole, like, you know, timeline
Here's
of like
the
year
plan.
3. This is what I'm gonna do, and it really is just like,
Yeah, the Roadcaster didn't exist when I started my
yeah,
channel.
like when you got your 26 subscribers after 40 videos.
Yes.
Did you think, like, yeah, at some point this is what's gonna happen?
Oh God, no.
Of course
Lord,
not.
no.
Of course not. And so that's why it's like, it's scary because it can feel like you're failing. Okay, I made 40 videos and I've got 26 subscribers. I think anyone would think, like, okay, that's not worth it, right? But the X factor, right? The thing that's going to keep you going is, like, you like doing it.
Yeah, it was so much fun to make those videos. I learned so freaking much from doing it. I like started.
And I'll tell you, one of those subscribers was me, and I was having a blast
That's
watching
true.
every single one of them.
That's true, and I couldn't not make videos because then she wouldn't comment on them.
Oh,
I needed that comment. But yeah, that's a different type of motivation, I guess.
Let's catch up on comments. Let's see. I do not want to be an overnight success. I want to become and stay successful until I'm sick on content creation.
Until you decide otherwise. Like,
yeah, I think that's another thing is, like, I think because a lot of content creators have gotten famous from a viral thing, when something does go viral, you think, like, all right, I'm good, like, I'm set now. But no, that's often not what happens. And also, you don't need virality in order to be successful.
I mean, it's the equivalent of, you know, 50 years ago it was a one-hit wonder band. You know, here's a top song in the country. This band's amazing. They came up with another song. Nobody cares anymore. Versus the band that just, like, never hits number 1, but constantly, like, you know, constantly makes albums, constantly goes on tours, has fans, keeps going. Like, I think that is very valuable, even though it's not as, like, headline grabbing.
Tech Audit TV. The biggest dilemma I face since going full-time creator is the constant internal battle of pitching a brand deal or just taking the product for free so that I don't have to deal with the headaches. That is a very
the world of brand deals, free products, and that whole thing is such a, I mean, you want to talk about all the misconceptions exist within that is insane.
See, but, like, dealing with that, just, like, even having the savviness to deal with that is a skill in itself, because Tom is Tom and you're not. It's true. I always feel guilty when I haven't uploaded to YouTube in a while.
Right. And we all would. And of course, nobody on your channel would tell you should feel guilty, but you can't, you just can't help it.
Bailey says, one of the main things that I've learned is just, I have to be motivated. I started a photo video business, and even though there were lots of licenses and legal stuff, I pushed through because I was set. I love that.
And taking the big things and breaking them down into baby steps. Like, if you look at, you know, this is where I want to be, this is where I am, it's overwhelming, but this is where I want to be, this is where I am. I need to fill out this one form. I need to make this one thing. I need to just...
Like, I recorded a video of me going to the county office and getting, like, creating my business. And I remember, I know I've told this story many times, but in the same office was where they issued the marriage licenses. And there was a couple getting married. They had family, they had roses, they had a photographer and everything. And I I was there like, I know it's not the same, but I feel just as excited about me creating my business and just like the future of it. Like, oh my God, our whole life ahead of us, me and my business, like me and my YouTube channel. I'm so
My
excited.
significant other.
Yeah, like, you know, and that thing, like whatever that thing is for you, is going to get you, like Bailey said, is going to get you through
all the other BS.
all the stuff. Yeah, because if you want to do it, you'll find a way. If you don't want to
Right.
do it, you'll find an excuse.
Right. Absolutely. Oh my God.
So that's just like I've told myself, okay, if I'm willing to do this and I'll finagle and make it work, then I obviously want to do it. But if I keep telling myself like, oh, I'm too tired, okay, at some point, like maybe you're just over this. Like maybe it's time to shift to something new or whatever. The best advice I can give is get a posse to work with. I know if Jared and Tom lived closer, we'd all get more work done. And salad in a jar.
We need to love more closely. Oh yeah. I mean that's the thing of like just being able to like remember when you were a kid and you could just like hang out with like your friends randomly.
So Tom made videos to flirt with Heather. Got it. So James and I used to live in the same apartment complex. I would just walk to his door and knock, and there I was.
Yeah. I mean, I grew up a lot of the years across the street from my best friend. Just anytime they just walk over and knock on the door.
This is like, I know this will never happen, but I've told Tom, I was like, I wish I could take all of our creator friends and have us live in a gated community where the amenity is like a community center of like
a
creator studio. Yeah.
Well, if Disney can make their own planned communities.
If a video gets 10 views, I'm busting out the champagne and having a viral party. I love that. Pretty much all the viral people are off platform now. Yeah, there's no such thing as free products. You are doing the work. Where do you both stand on short form content like Shorts or TikTok? It's a very good question.
That's tough.
So, so I have been mentioning this a couple times, but I'm about to get back to my tutorial channel, youtube.com/Heather Ramirez. Very excited because I'm modeling the entire thing off of this guy's channel. But one thing that I plan to implement is, I think that, you know, obviously this is me testing it, but I think that success in terms of growth on YouTube today is correlated with how many features you take advantage of in terms of the YouTube platform. So if you're just uploading videos, great. But if you're uploading videos, live streaming, and also uploading shorts, I think YouTube likes that. Like, I think they want you to use all of the...
This is just a theory.
This is a theory I have.
I mean, it makes sense that would be... It makes sense that would somehow algorithmically factor in.
I feel like if you're taking advantage... Because I feel like if you could be the model YouTube creator in YouTube's eyes, then like, isn't that what they're kind of hoping for?
I think
like
so. I think I think the only caveat
this is
there
a test, though.
is that YouTube doesn't know what the model creator is.
But in terms of TikTok, like, I've never downloaded it. I never will. I have something against. I really admire and respect like short form content creators like Leo, for example. But there's so much, from what I've seen, empty calories on TikTok that like. The last thing that my mind needs is more of that. I feel like I get enough of that on Twitter and the other social media platforms that, like, I don't want another thing to just mindlessly scroll on. I don't think that it's good for me, and that is a boundary that I'm just crossing. Nothing against people who create it, but just not for me. So there's a difference, like, between shorts and TikTok. How do you stand on it?
I mean, I think obviously, like, you can't ignore short form content now. I like YouTube Shorts. I just like using them for fun little things that I couldn't make a video about, but I don't want the idea to die. So I think that's kind of where they are currently falling for me. And they're a fun way to experiment. Like, I did a vertical anamorphic short, which I'm pretty sure is the only one on YouTube, because why? And that's really fun. The thing that freaks me out about it, and maybe this is where shorts I would even lean towards more than other things, is just the times I've watched people going through short form apps and like literally... This is what it looks like. I'm going to do it, so I'm not actually changing my notifications here on my phone, but it's literally like
Yeah, it was
like
the time we noticed it was when we were at a subway.
It was on the New
York
York subway because you would just see everyone on their phones, and I would just notice like how incredibly fast people would go through content. And I was thinking every time I see their thumb move, that's something that somebody made. And maybe somebody spent 5 seconds on it, but maybe it was like also someone like Leo who spent a whole day crafting a setup and doing something.
So here's what I'm doing, okay? Because I rarely talk about the channels that I'm actually subscribed to. We have very different subscription boxes. Right now, I'm 58 minutes and 58 seconds into a 1 hour and 20-minute video about Final Fantasy XIV.
Right.
The amount of care into this video. And see, that's why it's like YouTube is so big. There's so many people who are going to be out there like, don't make videos over.
Well, that was
minutes.
really the point that I was going towards. I feel less about like short form versus long form. I enjoy creating longer form content. Like that's just what I enjoy. But the value of YouTube, which I see becoming more and more valuable as time goes on, is the library, because I don't see any other platform that competes with YouTube.
Nope, no one even comes close.
Yeah, you create work, it pops, and then it kind of disappears. Whereas YouTube, suddenly you're like, why is this video from 3 years ago blowing up right now?
That is one of the biggest differences with YouTube versus any other platform. So if you were to tell me like which platform is the one, like, yeah, fine, you might blow up on TikTok, but in terms of longevity, which is what I want, like not there.
I think that library applies to shorts too. I don't really see why it wouldn't. So
also, Melanie would love to live in a creator community. So there you go.
So much insecurity in one neighborhood.
Doc is killing short form right now. I honestly don't like it, but it's kind of the future.
Yeah, I saw your stream where you were editing a reel. I mean, and that's where it is kind of nice. Like, so I feel like a YouTube short has a longer shelf life than a TikTok or a reel. But if you're making the YouTube short, like, and you want to put it up on as a reel or a version of it as a reel, and like, you know,
like I saw a reel that was 2 months old. Or I'm sorry, not a reel, a short.
Yeah. Oh, they pop up from all kinds of dates in my feed.
But I don't think that works the same with Instagram and TikTok. I think like recency plays a big role.
I think I could be completely wrong. Yeah. So
the too tired excuse is hard to fight. I was tired after an online lecture, but pushed through to record a voiceover for my own video. It's tough.
Yeah, it's hard to know when you need to push through and when you don't. Like, very hard to know.
I think that theory makes sense. Hasn't quite worked yet for us, but what we've invested in recently. I downloaded TikTok once to get more entries in after liking it, and then it's deleted straight after.
I like that.
Remember, you can curate your feed by liking videos that are not mindless if you want a clean feed. Yeah, but that's like a problem.
My TikTok problem. Well, I did download it once, and I remember because that was why people were like, the algorithm is so good.
Well, I'm not even talking about TikTok. If you scroll through Tom's feed on Instagram, it is all golden retrievers
and corgis,
which is not a bad thing, right? So you think like,
that's what I want more
knows you,
of.
but then you're there, right? Now you're just here for like forever and ever.
My thing with the time I downloaded TikTok was I went through what felt like way more time than I want to spend on it. I was still not seeing anything I was interested in, and I was like, okay, maybe I need to spend a week on it or something. But
you also have to sift through the scantily clad teenage girls.
Yeah, I was like, I'm gonna get arrested if I keep going through this. I don't want to do that.
Very uncomfortable and awkward. From the education standpoint, TikTok and Snapchat are not value add. They make my day hell as an admin. I don't think my avatar lives there. I can't even imagine. I create a lot of short form content, but I don't actually watch that many short form videos. But I think that's true for a lot of people who make YouTube videos. Like, I have found that when you start making YouTube videos, you start watching less.
Well, I feel
YouTube
like
videos.
too with Leo, like your short form content makes sense in a way because a lot of it is like technique based. And so it's or experimental, like I'm going to try to figure out if I can do something. Here's the end result. Like, how could I make this work? Here's the end result. Like it doesn't necessarily need to be a 10-minute video. It's cool it's like a before and after picture. Like it's really cool to see somebody just did this. Like how?
Tech for idiots. I wish more people talk about mental health in the content creator world. I know this is not the main topic of today's live stream. This should be a topic for future.
That's actually a great idea.
We're gonna write it.
That is a
right
great
here,
idea.
Creator mental health. I feel like we talk about aspects about creator mental health all the time, but it deserves its own episode. Yeah. We can talk about that next week.
Sure.
Thanks, Tech for Needs. We always appreciate
really
topic
nice.
suggestions. So you're only engaging with a small portion of what is on YouTube. Pick up an item in your house, and there's a whole community on YouTube about that thing.
Which actually,
that's what I love about it.
I know we're tying in. We're like nearing the end of our stream. But
Yeah.
this was a really cool point that we were talking about before the stream, was something you hear a lot about is like the gear you need to get started with YouTube. And the misconception, obviously, a lot of us here, I think, know is not true, that you need a whole full-on studio. There is certain gear that you need for certain things, period. Like, you can't light a room with a book. Like, you need a light for that. But, the amount of stuff that you need, and the phone was a good example, because the thing you hear a lot of people say is like, okay, use your phone to get started. But when we were talking with Peter earlier before the stream, he which I thought this was an amazing idea, like if you wanted to do a review thing or get into tech, don't just use your phone, but literally use it. Like, okay, so you don't have the newest camera, you don't have the newest computer, you don't have all that stuff, but you have your phone. You can literally use the phone to make a video about the phone. Like, the thing can be like, use what you have to start off with. Sure, you don't have the newest whatever, but the mouse that you're using on your computer, other people have it. You know a lot about it, so you have the actual experience with it, so you can legitimately talk about the pros and the cons, what you like, what you don't like. You'll have immediate authenticity because you paid for it. It's like a thing you paid for. It wasn't a marketing campaign. It wasn't anything like that. And I forget what sparked that idea in my head, but like something about just getting started and feeling like you didn't know what you had. And I thought that was just a really cool point to bring up.
So this reminds me of a story that I told you. I don't think I've talked about it on the couples table, but I was invited to do a study with a camera brand. I don't think I'm allowed to say what it was, but it's
Polaroid.
It's a camera brand we all know. And this was in 2016. So, content creation was like really starting to...
Daily vlogging style content creation, yeah.
So I got invited to participate, and I will tell you that one of the other people that was there has a massive YouTube channel, to the point where now they have a Netflix show, and is like the typical YouTuber influencer lifestyle that I don't necessarily agree with, but that's who was there, right? And other like videographers and other content creators. But when I showed up, and this is in 2016, so I was like relatively new to all of this stuff, I was using this camera right here, this white camera. This is a Canon S110. It's a point and shoot. There's not even a flip out screen. Like, this thing is 2 pounds, not even. Like, it's tiny. There's not even like an interchangeable lens. It is truly a point and shoot. And the challenge that they wanted us to do was to spend 20 minutes making a video, any kind of video. That was the only limitation they gave us. They said
20 minutes.
Yeah, they said bring your laptop, like bring whatever gear you need to make a video. And we got there and they were like, okay, we want you to make a video and we want to observe your process. You have 20 minutes. And like, I cannot tell you the excitement I had when I was like, I don't know why, but I have this feeling like I'm going to make the best damn video out of everyone in this group. And like, I want to say that mine was the best video.
I believe that it would have been.
It actually is on my YouTube channel. I don't remember what it was called, so I can't pull it up. But it, like, the people who were watching us, like, they laughed, and like I was so excited about it. And it always reminds me of like, you could totally let so many things stop you, like gear or whatever it is. But if you feel that like that drive of I am going to make this happen despite any kind of limitation, despite like no time. I had 20 minutes. Like, I didn't even
start to finish. Yeah.
I didn't even know what I was going to do when I rolled up. Like, this is a brand new building. I'd never even, I had so many other things on my mind. I was like, I'm going to make the best video in 20 minutes. And I did it. And it was awesome. And like, it's that thing of you will make it work if you really want to.
Yeah.
No matter what, with whatever you got. And it could be amazing. Like, doesn't mean that it is not going to be as good. Okay. Yeah, the TTS voice just makes me want to. But yeah, we can wrap up. I was going to do dancing. My wife wouldn't let me do her dress. I think my audience got annoyed with shorts. I'm having lots of fun creating on TikTok, though. Yes, golden retrievers, corgis, and road products.
Yeah.
YouTube is the king of search. TikTok is actually seeing a surprising amount of search. For example, stuff like Christmas parties, ideas, or Father's Day gifts.
I feel like I've seen the idea that like TikTok tutorials are growing.
Short form content can have a long shelf life if you are doing evergreen content. I did a stream on creator mental health at the top of last month. Bye, Leo. Let's see. Blah, blah, blah. There are amazing streams about value of older gear you can create from the struggle bus too. There you go. I don't know who Colleen Ballinger is. But anyway, that was fun.
Yeah, that was fun. So, thank you.
Yeah.
For being here.
Are we still live? Here we are. Okay,
Are
cool. So I didn't see like...
We ended 40 minutes ago.
I was just talking to myself. So, yeah.
So, yeah.
No,
this is time to clear the table. See, this is, you know what? Here, we'll do a lesson right now, because when I taught senior English and we had to give, or I made my students do public speaking, and because it was required, and they would do speeches. So many times I would have students, we would do impromptu speeches. That was always a struggle, but sometimes we would spend 6 weeks on a speech and they have to deliver, a persuasive or an expository speech. And then they get up front, they deliver this amazing thing. And it's always like, and here, these are the reasons why my points are amazing and they're great. So yeah, like every kid would be
so guilty of so yeah.
And I was like, if you would have just stopped right before that, cut that off, get the scissors and slice it.
I was on Tech Troublemaker's stream, and after every answer I gave, I was like, so yeah. The part of me dies inside because I know you're listening for it. And I'm like, oh.
You have to. You don't have to. If you're fine with it, you're fine with it. But you can train it out.
I'm uncomfortable with silence, Tom.
Yeah, no, I've learned this. But what I've learned is that silence in your own mind, talk about a misconception,
is loud. Yeah.
Is loud and long. Silence in the real world is short and quiet. I don't know. But,
silence is quiet.
Well, you said silence is loud. I could say it's quiet. It is. But, if someone asks you a question, why did you do this? And you say, well, I did that because of X, Y, and Z. And then you stop. It's going to feel like awkward for you. But that awkwardness is not going to actually be as long as it feels for you. And then you're going to have communicated to the person that you're done.
Okay, Mr.
And
Buck.
they will start talking. It's very hard to do that. But you can also just replace stuff like so, yeah. Because that is a very common thing that people end their stuff with. So, yeah. If you want to, you can replace that with another phrase, which for me literally did become, I hope you have a safe, happy, healthy, fun rest of your day. Like, it fills the same muscle need to say something, and that's how I ended all my classes. That's how I end all my streams. That's how I do
mine is. Does that make sense?
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Does that make sense? Why are you laughing?
Because the way you said it, I've heard it so many times.
Yeah,
does that make sense?
That's what I.
Sometimes you need that, because that is kind of a prompt. Also, does that, and then the person can clarify or not. So that's a good one. But if you find a phrase or something, like I always think of the Truman Show, have a good afternoon, good evening, and good night, and yeah. Anyway,
I teach don't be afraid of dead air. Yeah. If you could edit speeches like a YouTube video. I start so many sentences with okay.
Oh,
so
that's a bad one. Okay, so now. Okay.
If I'm a co-instructor that will finish thoughts with, if you know what I mean, I finally stop saying yes. Silence gives the space to reflect on the amazing point you just made. But I do that's it.
At least that's very clear. That's it. We are done.
Dead air chicken is what we call it in radio.
Yeah, because both sides are yeah. Sometimes I do. It's funny. After doing YouTube, there was a time I was interviewed for the news after I'd done YouTube for a while. And I worked at a TV station, so I knew this, but especially after doing YouTube, they'd ask something like, how do you feel about this? And I'm like, well, the way I feel about this is blah, 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 blah. And they'd say, okay, why did this happen?
You repeat the question?
And I'm like, oh, that happened because this thing, blah, blah, blah. And I would I remember the reporter was like, he speaks in sound bites.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, no, I know you have to go edit this, and you don't want to pull out 5 words from a 50-word sentence.
You could always tell when someone knows.
Yeah.
We've had many people tell us oh, it's so different working with pros.
Just because you know how to communicate.
Yeah,
but
we know how you're going to edit
the point
this.
is, it's something you can learn. It feels kind of weird because you almost feel like you're cutting off a conversation. Sometimes I worry it doesn't feel organic, but it's like, here's the thing I said, I'm done. We can say the next thing now. And it kind of helps keep the flow going. And at the end, you can just replace it with something like, it's time to clear the table.
Wow, that was a great transition.
I know, right?
That was really good. I was literally sitting here thinking, weren't we supposed to wrap up the show? And then you were like, and it's time to clear the table. You're so good.
With that being said, thank you for spending your time with us. Hope you have a safe, happy, healthy, fun rest of your day. And we will see you next time.
Bye.